Hello coders. In this video, we are going to see what are conditional statements in Go. So let's get started. We have our editor open. Let's get started. I will name the file conditional.go and start code. Package main, function main. This is our regular definitions. And then we have import fmt for printing. Now, what are basically conditional statements? For example, you want to execute some piece of code or some line of code depending on a precondition. That is, let's say you want to print the grade of a student depending on their marks. Now, the marks will be divided into some categories. For example, let's say if the marks of a student is greater than 90, we want to print A. If it is less, let's say in the range of 80 to maybe 90, then we want to print B and so on. So the printing of A or B or specifically the grade depends on what the marks the student has achieved, right? Now for that we need a condition and that is called as a precondition. Now let's see how we can check for preconditions or basically conditions in Go. To check for a condition, we use a keyword called as if, right? Now to explain, let's take the marks of a student as, for now I'll start with, let's say 90, right? Now to check what 90 marks will be represented as a grade is we will use the if keyword. To check if marks is greater than 90, we will print the grade as A. Now, maybe I can take the marks as 95 for now. Yeah, marks 95 if marks is greater than 90. So if you look at this statement, right, marks greater than 90, maybe from the previous video, we can make out that this is a logical comparison. If marks is greater than 90, it will always give you a Boolean value, either true or false. So in our case, 95 is greater than 90, and we will get the output evaluated as true. So in that case, if marks is greater than 90, then print grade A, right? Now let's try and run this program. Yeah, if you see, it is printed as grade A. Now let's check the other way around. Let's check if marks is 5. Go run conditional.go. In this case, you don't get any output, right? Because you have not printed any statement if the marks is less than or equal to 90, right? Now, how do we do that? There is a generic case that is for every if there is no, there is no mandate that there should be an else, but each if can end with an else. That is something like this, an else block. So the block, the piece of code inside an if block, a block is represented using two curly braces. So this is also a block of code. This is also a block of code. This is also a block of code. Now, this is the if block, and what you see here after else is the else block. If marks is greater than 90, we print A, sorry, grade A. Now let's say what happens otherwise. So if marks is less than 90, for example, we will print grade as B. Now let's check it again. Yeah, in this case, you see that the grade is B. Now let's try adding some more grades to this marks, right? For example, now let's say if a student, for now, let's say you want to have grades between A, B, C, D, and so on. And the bifurcation is something like if marks is greater than 90, you need grade A. Maybe I can write it out here. If it is greater than 90, it should be A. If it is greater than 80 and less than 90, less than or equal to 90, yeah, let it be B. And if it is greater than 70 and less than 80, let it be C. And anything less than C, sorry, and anything less than 80, is D, right? Now let's see how we can achieve this. So this condition is already achieved. If marks is greater than 90, you print grade A. Let's see how we can add one more condition to this. We have something called as else if. That means if this statement, if not this statement, if not that also, then else. It means something like that. So it is basically if else if. This particular chain is called an if else if ladder. It's because you see we can have a lot of different if else if cases, but when you have a lot of different cases, the code can become a little bit cumbersome. To avoid that, we have an alternative in Go. We will be seeing that in some while. But for now, let's continue with this example. Now we have else if marks is greater than 80. We have to combine a use case here. If you see here, it is greater than 80 and less than equal to 90. So from our previous video, we know to use a logical and we need to use double ampersand. Marks is greater than 80 and marks is less than or equal to 90. We print fmt.println grade B. And the next condition is, again, we will have else if marks is greater than 70. Oh, sorry, this should be less than 70. Else if marks is greater than 70 and marks is less than or equal to 80. In this case, we can print grade C and we have our else, that is grade D. Now let's try executing this program with marks equal to, let's say, 75. Go run conditionals. Yeah, if you see here, we have gotten the output as grade C. The marks is 75. Is it greater than 90? No. It goes to the next check. Is it greater than 80? It fails here, so it will not check for the second half of the condition. Then again, it goes to the next condition, that is 75 is greater than 70 is true, and 75 is less than equal to 80. So that's true. It will go inside. It will print fmt.println grade C. You have the output, and it will not go to the else block. So that's how the code flows in a conditional statement in Go. Right now, in this, let's say we don't want this. That is also perfectly fine. The only thing is that you will not get any output for marks that is less than equal to 70. So now let's try with 65, right? Go run conditional.go. You see there's no output. This is what we expected. And there is no parenthesis that is enclosing for if conditions in Go. This is a syntax error. We don't need it. It is plain expression. If you want to group the expressions, you can use, for example, here you have a logical AND operation. In that case, if you want to group, you can use your parentheses. If not, it's optional, right? So this was if else statement in Go. So I was talking about an alternative earlier to have a bit more cleaner code. And the alternative that I was talking about is called a switch statement. Now, how does a switch statement work? Let's check it out. I will comment this out for now and check out the switch statement. Okay. Now let's say we have a day. For example, let's keep it Monday. And we want to print based on the day if it's a weekend, it's a weekday, or it's midweek, right? Now, to achieve that, let's say we try with if else. Now, with if else, what we have to do is if day is equal to Monday. Now, what you have to make note here is the double equal to operator, right? As I mentioned in my previous video, for equality comparison, we always have to use double equal to and not single equal to. Now, if day equal to Monday, For example, we can print out it is weekday. Now, if you see there are 7 days in a week. Now, for Monday, then again we have to write a condition for else if day equal to Tuesday, sorry, Tuesday, and then again print the same statement. So this becomes you see where I'm going, right? It becomes a little bit not so clean, I would say. I mean, there is one more alternative that you can use. For example, if day equal to Monday, you can use a logical or operator, as I mentioned in my previous video. If day equal to Monday, or day equal to Tuesday, or day equal to Wednesday, and so on and so forth. This is also a way you can write, right? So for example, I can write for maybe 3 days, Wednesday. In that case, you can print weekday, right? And if it is else if day is Sunday, or day is Saturday. So print out weekend. Now I have not added all the days, but you get the gist. Now let's say I run it. Go run conditional.go. You see the output is weekday. That was expected. Now, how do we write this in a switch statement? Switch is the keyword to start with the switch statement in Go. Now, you want to be able to switch on the value of a variable. That's what switch statement is for. Now, the changing variable for us, or the input, is day. So what we do here is we write the switch statement like switch day. So what this does is we write switch case statements. That is, for each day, we can assume the possible values here. That is, for example, let's say case Monday. And in that case, we can print, sorry, weekday, right? This becomes a case. So the case values are values that the day may assume. In that case, now let's say if I want to add more cases to it. Let's say I write case Tuesday, sorry, Tuesday, and again I print fmt.println weekday, sorry, weekday, and next I'll print, for now I'll take Sunday and give the print as weekend. Right, now let's see what happens. I will comment this out for now, just so that we don't get confused. Yeah, you see, we get weekday. Let's say we take Saturday. Now, if you see, Saturday is not a case in your switch statement. Let's see what happens. Yeah, there is no output. That means that case is not handled. In such cases where the case is not handled, that is, that there is a value in day, but the value what is given is not expected. In this case, it is Saturday. Let's say it was January. Someone who doesn't know and just put the day as January, and then try to execute. You will not get any output because it is not considered as a day, right? In that case, to handle such cases, we have a keyword called default. That is just to handle any non-matching case. If the day does not match any of the cases here, it will go to the default case. Println invalid day. Now let's try and run this program. Yeah, you get invalid day. As soon as switch finds any statement, any matching case statement in its conditionals, it will go ahead and execute that statement and exit out of the switch block, right? Now, there is one more, I mean, even this looks a little bit messy in the sense you have to write case Monday, case Tuesday for everything. So there is a grouping option in Go. How you group this is you can take this and add multiple matching values. That is Tuesday separated by comma, Wednesday, sorry, Thursday, Friday. And I remove this case. So in this case, if you see all 5 days are grouped in a single case. And let's see what happens if I give Friday. We can run the prod, we can run the code. So we have weekday. So this was basic switch statement, how they work in Go. Now, let's assume there is a scenario where you want to execute two cases irrespective of their value. Now, in Go by default, if a case is executed, it does not go to the next case. But there might be some way, I mean, some reason why you want to execute. For example, let's say I want to print a different message for Saturday and Sunday, but the message for Sunday remains same. In the sense, let's say I write weekend bonus, right? And for Saturday, I just want to print Saturday fmt.println. I just want to print weekend. And let's assume the input is Saturday for now. I'll run the program. So you have weekend here. And if it is Sunday, then we have weekend bonus. Now let's say if the input is Saturday, I want to output it is a weekend. Also, I want to execute or maybe I want to print that there is a weekend bonus also. Now we can obviously do fmt.println and then do a weekend bonus, right? But let's say there was some complex logic that you had written on Sunday and you generally the thumb rule of any programming language is you should avoid as much duplication as possible, right? Redundancy should be reduced. In that, so for that sense, we don't promote or we don't, you know, advise to write duplicate code. So in that sense, we don't want to do this, right? We want weekend to be printed as well as weekend bonus. In that case, there is a keyword in Go called as fall through. What this does is once this case is executed, it executes the next immediate case that's available. That means after weekend is printed, it falls through to the next case. That is case Sunday. Let's try and execute this. Yeah, you see weekend on a Saturday and weekend bonus. And our Sunday, there nothing changes as part of Sunday. Yeah, weekend bonus. So you can try it out on your own with different types of codes, maybe comparing marks. You can try and implement your own switch statement for the marks problem that we discussed. It's all up to you how you practice. On that note, this is Cron Coder signing off. See you in the next one.